Yes, we're wearing the same outfit. Mind your business. I thought you said something. All right.
What did they do to
Speaking of
you?
fighting moods,
I don't think they would have noticed.
we're going to be talking about controversial topics. Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Still hungry, but I'm doing well.
We're the bubbleblowinggirlies. Welcome. Welcome to our episode.
Sup,
I'm Star.
Nemo?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that hand gesture just now?
That was me feeling myself.
Mm.
All right. Okay, so I got a couple of controversial questions.
For me? From what?
Yes, to ask.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was also
Ah.
Ow. How do you
Okay.
do it? Ow. I still can't do it.
Ow.
Ow.
You sound hurt.
Ow.
You just sound so hurt when you do it, and it's just sad. It's just sad.
My tummy's is doing the rebellies.
Okay, you ready to
But only
start?
hands can satisfy.
You ready to start? Cause
Sure.
I'm ready. We're gonna start off heavy. We'll start off hard.
Heavy? I started off light last time.
Controversy is hard to be light. It's supposed to be controversial.
I feel like you purposely made it sound a certain way, though. Somebody arguing with us?
Why are we so nosy? Because the way I wanted to draw these lines and get up in there. Okay.
I really like hearing people argue out and about and just picking a side who I think, even though I don't know the full context, I just like picking somebody's side and just start agreeing.
Okay. Ready? You said we should start off light.
Yeah, thank you.
We don't agree with this one. Well, I don't. But I. Okay. So the first one is, do you think it's unethical to eat meat as an animal lover yourself?
Is I can't even say that. Hold on. Um, do I think it's unethical to eat meat?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't think it's unethical to eat meat. I really don't. I really don't.
I love me a good steak. I always say I could be a vegetarian or a vegan, but like when I think about it, I can't. I can't. I can't give up a good piece of steak. A good cowboy.
Not a good.
Have you ever had a Have you ever had a piece of cowboy
It's weird.
steak?
I really live
It's
more of a
so good.
pescatarian life
It's so good.
usually, but
So good.
I love a good burger.
Mm,
I really do. I can't
mm.
can't do it.
Like when I think about it, no, no. Okay, on the same wavelength, should zoos be banned?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I really think that because like there's no actual purpose to have zoos other than for people's own entertainment,
Mhm.
and that's just cruel to the animals because it's like, would you lock up a person and then have someone come and see them like it's a show and you're in this cage this entire time? You can't roam free. You can't do other things that you would have been able to do if you were out and about in the world how you would naturally. You are told, like, you are controlled to do this a certain way. You have to eat the food that they give you. You you don't have any choices. So I feel, nah, man, zoos should be banned.
If that sounds familiar to a lot of you guys, that's what slavery is. Yeah. Just want to let you know. That's why we said what we said.
Maybe they live a little longer because they are taken care of by professional, the good zoos, well, the better zoos. I'm not gonna say good zoos. They're just, better and worse. But at the end of the day, like, is it living if you're not living? You know? Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. I was about to drop a Drake line in there, but I was like, stop.
What is that? YOLO?
No,
What?
it's for a moment for life.
Everybody dies, but everybody
He said it. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. Some of
lives.
y'all ain't living. Y'all are alive, but y'all ain't living.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Oh,
just saying. It's the same case.
it's so
Just because there's blood running through your veins, that don't mean you're living, baby.
so sad, so sad.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you believe? Hmm.
And magic, magic,
Do you
magic.
believe that you can think of you can take this whichever way you want to, but do you believe that religion does more harm than good?
I mean, first off, um, I think it depends because people use religion as a weapon all the time to harm so much. And then there's some people on this earth that like need to believe in something,
Mm-hmm.
or else, um they can fall into some kind of like depression or some kind of existential crisis of like why they're on earth and stuff like that. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
certain things, and like religion in some ways have done a lot of good, whether that be like charity or like people's faith and like steering people in the right path because they feel like there's someone like guiding them, even though it's really just them that's like doing it. It's more like a placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has done a lot and lots of harm. So, and I'm on the I'm one of the believers in the conspiracy that all religions are sort of cults
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Like when it becomes like radical,
Yeah.
they're cults. It's one thing for like
Mm-hmm.
it's for someone to believe in something, but when it becomes radical, they're cults. And when they become
Yeah.
cults, they're way more harmful than they are good.
Trust.
So
Trust and believe.
so it's like it just really it depends on like how you're using religion.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. That's why I say it could go in both ways because it depends on how you're looking at it. It could, and it has. It is still doing a lot of harm as we speak right now. So,
Sadly, sadly.
okay.
Why can't we just all hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
I don't know why this one is on the list, but it says alcohol should not be sold after 10 p.m. How is this controversial? Who agreeing on this?
I mean, I guess it's
That's
because
why it's
people don't yeah,
controversial.
because it's unpopular. That's an unpopular opinion right there.
That's you see. Speak on it, cause hmm,
Okay, so one, that's not correct. That is not correct.
it's incorrect.
Because I mean, who's not drinking? If they're gonna drink past 10 p.m. I'm
That's the best
confused.
time.
I'm very confused.
That's the best
That's
time.
prime time drinking. They need to go get the alcohol.
At least they're doing it out of work hours. 10
Exactly.
p.m. is after work hours, unless he works some overnight job, hospitals and such, security. That's past a lot of people's 9 to 5 work hours. So I feel like that should not be the case. That should not be the case. That's quite silly. That's a silly goose statement.
More restrictions on drinking are just gonna cause people to want to drink even more. And because when people are restricted from something, or even if it's something that they didn't want before, because you told them they can't have it, they're gonna go out and get it just out of spite, just out of their own ego and pettiness, and it'll be even worse. So like that's just a no. That's a no no. So no, 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 no.
Okay. Hmm. Next. Next on the docket. Do you believe that abortion is murder?
Do I believe abortion is murder? Um, no, I don't believe abortion is murder. Now, do I feel like on both sides, uh, it's one of those philosophical things, I think, where it's like it depends on how you see it because it's like if the thing is like on there's a side like for abortion, a side against abortion. I'm for abortion if anything because at the end of the day it's less harmful and also it's women's bodies, it's their choice whether they want to or not, and you like that's the baseline of it. It should be their choice, and that's that. But sometimes the arguments on both sides, like because they get like so ramped up, the only thing they can do is insult the other side, and it becomes like so crazy because then it's like sometimes it's like misinformation just being spread because uh that's like the only thing they are stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
So say like what's it called? The way that people against abortion go about it are all the wrong reasons. All the
Right.
wrong reasons. And the way they fight tooth and nail against abortion, it's just like say you want to control women and leave it. Like that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes I'll hear some arguments when it comes to for abortion people. And it'll be like the kitties and stuff like that, where they're just like, uh, oh, I'm just killing like some spaghetti noodles and stuff like that. Oh, it's just whatever. And I'm just like, no,
Mm-hmm.
because by the time you realize you're pregnant, you are already at a term where
Not five
technically
weeks.
technically that baby that little the group of cells is already forming into like an intelligent mass already, and it's like also it's like you hear them say, oh, you're just killing a thing, you know. And then I'm just like, but what about people? So it's like when people don't want a child, it's a thing, it's something you can just discard. But then when people want the child and they miscarry, it's tragic and it's the death of a child. And it's like also so many young girls who can't handle like a child or whatever, they will go into abortion clinics and they will feel the loss of afterwards. Okay, so like and so like there's a lot of like people say even if they like aren't young or whatever, they go into uh in an abortion clinic and they're about to go through with the operation, and just their mental state going through it is enough on itself. They're so hard on themselves, even though like the best case scenario for them is to go through with the abortion, they'll still feel the loss. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want the child, but they'll still go through the loss. And then they'll feel all the feelings afterwards, and then they'll have to go through all the questions like what if I could have, or like all the what ifs, and that's like playing it as something and dumbing abortion down is something that I don't agree with. I'm for abortion, but like not speaking on all the facts, all the side effects, the way it risks you not being able to have a child in the future, how it can
Mm-hmm.
ruin that, or it can do damage to your body as well, just like having a child can damage your body.
Mm-hmm.
Having an abortion can do that as well. And it's like there's so much misinformation when it comes to both sides. Just like people who are like for veganism, like they are always stuck on, oh, would you be like a lot of the common things is like, can you kill this animal yourself and stuff like that? A lot of people can when they want meat. Yes, they could. But like that's a dumb argument because it's like, what what are you saying right now? But the thing is there's so much more information and better information that they could be using for being vegan,
Hmm.
but then they also don't talk about the side effects. They're not completely open and honest about the side effects veganism can have if you don't go into it knowing the proper nutritional facts. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, but yeah,
Sadly, misinformation is what makes this world spin.
yeah, it's just like I just hope that at some point it'll just be open and honest conversation, but it's never is. Especially as we learn more. For some reason we just make more jokes instead.
Honestly, I agree with what she said about the abortion because with everything that she said, that is 100% true. And if that child is to come into this world, if that person, that mother, might not be able to care for it, and so you'll be bringing a young baby into this world that's going to might as well sadly be dead. They're not going to have proper nutrition because they don't have the financial support to do so. They're not going to be able to have proper home, proper environment to grow up in. Again, they might as well be dead. If they go put up for abortion or foster care, honestly, in the system, it's just as bad as being out in the streets sometimes. And so it's better for them to have gone through the abortion in the first place if they're going to be bringing a child into the world with nothing to offer the child. So
Mm,
it's better to it's better to they know what they have done and they're already going through a lot. And so putting it to say no, you cannot get abortion because as she said, if you're for it or against it, they give it a different label. It's a lump of cells or it's a child. It's nothing. Or it's a human being. It's always whatever sides with what they're trying to say. They never it's never consistent. And so it really has no value if you can't be consistent with understanding what it is. At 5 weeks, that child has a heartbeat. That child has a heartbeat. But that mother is already going through so much. That child is a new foreign body in them. So they're already going through so much that if they didn't know that they were pregnant, it's unexplainable why they've been going through so much changes, mood swings, and everything. And so now that they found out, they know they cannot take care of this child. And so they're trying to make the best choice for themselves and for the child. So abortion is not considered murder. That's what I feel.
mm-mm. Also, and I said that there's a lot of girls and people who get pregnant and women out there that get pregnant and go through abortion. They have a lot of feelings. Now there are some who actually don't care about the child.
Yeah,
Mother instincts don't exist. People say, oh, it's a mother's instincts, or you're gonna, or it's like it's natural for no,
you have
it's
to want it.
there's people that care and there's people that don't. Fortunately there's more people that do care, but then there's a lot of women that have abortions day in and day out. um what's it called, and they don't care. And if they had a child they probably would not care about the child if they weren't able to get to the abortion enough, quick enough. So um yeah, some girls just know, or women so know that they're not fit to be mothers, and that's okay. um and we need abortions for the people that know they're not fit to be mothers,
Yeah,
because it's better for everyone involved for that person to not have a child at all. That's all I'm going to say. There are bad mothers out there. there
yeah.
are there are women who know that would not be able to, who know it's not that they wouldn't be able to take care of it. They just don't want to take care of a child. Let them not care for the child. Let them not care for any child. That's all I got to say.
Coming off of that, there are some people that have health risks with being pregnant and that need to do an abortion. It's not like they want to, they need to do an abortion. So is that mother's life less has less does that mother have does that mother's life have less worth than the child? That's a question that's now a new question. Because if they physically cannot carry this child the entire gestational period, why would you not allow them to have that abortion?
Mm-hmm. Especially because abortion has so many legally it has so many things tacked onto
So
it
many
and
layers.
medically, and so like the laws in say Texas or wherever it is that it's banned at, they what's it called, women have been going through like health risks and all this
Yeah.
stuff because they're because of what an abortion technically means,
Hmm.
and so it's so rough. It is so sad. I'm pretty sure a woman died as well,
Yeah.
and it's so sad. Like what?
I'm gonna add on to one more question before we move on. Do you believe that the father of the child should be aware of the abortion?
I do believe that they should be aware of it. Honestly, um, no matter what, I do feel like you should always talk to the father of the child, no matter what. Like say like you're if no matter what anyone else like is saying beside you, I feel like you should talk to the father of the child. At the end of the day, it is going to be your choice. It is still your body that is carrying the child. But I do feel like it's important to like hear what the would be father would have said, and things like that. I really do that think that's important because there are some men out there that would be wonderful fathers, but are not given the chance because they're not the
They
ones
laid with the
carrying the
wrong
baby.
person.
And there's a potential of fathers that would have cared for the child single-handedly if they were given the opportunity, but could not because at the end of the day, the woman just didn't want to go through with the pregnancy, even if the father would have taken care of the child. It's a whole thing. I do feel like at the end of the day, he should at least be told what's going on because it still was a part of him.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's still the women's decision at the end of the day, I feel like at the very least they should have the knowledge.
And in my, logical head, not everyone is logical in this world, but in my logical head,
Everyone is not
I
common
would
sense isn't as common as you think.
if that person, if that guy, that father knew that he wasn't ready to be a child and your child
A
be a
child.
to be a parent and the mother knew that she wasn't ready to be a parent from that incident, if y'all had the conversation, if y'all choose to stay together, break up, y'all would take proper measures the next time to not have that occur again. Because
Exactly.
whether the man cared about the woman or not, you wouldn't want to be going around here sowing your seed because some people might have kept it and then you got another list of worries to worry about, sir. Child support ain't no joke, I've heard in these streets. So that's another list to worry about. But if you did care about her and she chooses to go through that abortion, you have to understand that she's going to go through, as she said, a lot of changes, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of internal changes. It might affect her mood. It might affect so much things within her. And it's just having to understand that y'all are both adults. Y'all decide to do this. And so you have to understand the consequences that could come of it.
And honestly, just like how the father should be there when someone is giving birth, the father should be there when someone's going to get an abortion. I do feel like they should be there for both occurrences.
Unless there's some
Friction.
drastic measures.
Um,
There's some because
unless
there's
unless
something
unless
happens,
unless you guys broke up midway and didn't realize that there was a child, a parent.
because there are just some relationships. There are one night stands and such. Things happen. You just a passerby. But if they can make it, if it is someone that cares about you, then if they can be there, let them be there. Let them be there for you because if that person there, your mother, someone that really cares about you, because I don't know what that feeling is like, but I know what a loss feels like. And so that's incomparable to what you're going through. But I feel like you would want someone to be there with you in that time. So, yeah. Next question.
Next question.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
Uh, yes. Yes, I do. Now, see, I don't really, okay. I'm not, I am a spiritual person in a sense where it's like in, I believe in a God and stuff. Now, am I gonna say I'm like straight up Catholic or this or that? No, I'm not gonna say that. But I do. So I'm not saying I don't believe in hell. Say that. I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in hell. Any devil is more just like a person's own ego and a person's own bad decisions and their own impulses that they did not control. If there are demons, it's your mental ones that plague you at night and your intrusive thoughts. But I I don't believe in a standard version of heaven either, where it's pearly gates and like all light and everyone's going to this one place, um, and things like that. But I do believe in afterlife where like this plane, this earthly plane is not the last place for our life. Like it's not just this and then we're dead and then it's just nothing. I don't believe in that. I
Okay.
really don't.
So, in that sense, do you believe in reincarnation?
In a sense, I believe in reincarnation. In a sense. Honestly, I have this theory, my own conspiracy theory,
Mm-hmm.
that and it goes through a little bit changes and tweaks as I grow older. But I would like to say that there's ever if there is a version of hell, it would be um what's it called? Someone who, they messed up, they hurt people and stuff like that. Say, and they hurt them intentionally or whatever, whether they have regrets or have no regrets or whatever. But it essentially, when they die, or however they lived or however they died in life, the next life that they come to, they either stay in that same plane and or they go to a plane that's lower than this one, and they live the life of the person, and they go through the same things that that person did
Mm.
when they hurt that person. So
Mm.
if they uh and to learn the lesson and to learn the pain that they inflicted upon someone else,
Mm-hmm.
even if they technically did not have the memories of their past life, um I like to think that that's sort of like what hell is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then like, if you lived your life and you learned the lessons that you that you like that helped you grow spiritually and stuff like that, then you go on to the next plane, like a level up in a sort of way.
Okay.
That's my conspiracy.
What age do you believe children should get cell phones? Yo,
Wait,
telephone.
wait. Oh, cell phones?
Yes. What
You
did
said
you?
that. I heard cellophane. And I was like, what?
Why are the children having cellophane?
What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
What age? Well, I did not get a cell phone until I was in high school. Then I lost it. And then I didn't get another one until my first year of college when I was able to pay for it. So
Let's think on a wide spectrum
in the
here.
wide spectrum,
You're like,
I'm a different matter.
yeah.
I feel like honestly, I feel like children should have if they're like what's it called, the key children, lucky children, I forgot what they're called, but the ones who have to go, they have to walk home by themselves, if they
Okay,
ever have,
walkers.
yeah, something like that, if they ever have to walk home by themselves after
Mm-hmm.
school, or like they have to like generally take care of themselves before their parents or the person who looks after them shows up, I feel like then that's the age that they should have a cell phone, um just in general, because the thing is, if you're because this is what happened to me while I was, because in school growing up, whenever I need to call my mom, I just talk to the teacher and ask her if I can use the phone, or I ask someone or I just ask an adult for a phone to call my mother. You know, I know many of us, if there's one number we have memorized, it's gonna be one of our parents.
Mhm.
So that's what I did. And so I didn't really need a cell phone, but the thing is I did walk home by myself while I was in middle school, and at that time there would be some days where I walked completely alone. Like I didn't have a friend to walk home with. So it would have been better, safety reasons to have a
Mhm.
phone. Of course, have parental controls, have parental locks on it while they're younger,
Mhm.
but don't go too crazy now. But with the parental controls and the parental locks, because that's just pressure on your child. But yeah, I feel like when you know when they're at that age where they're out and about and it's just a safety thing,
Yeah.
that's when they should have a phone. Because I was walking home by myself while I was around fourth grade, fourth,
Mhm.
fourth, third grade. That's when my brother went to middle school.
Mhm.
So that's generally around the time I started walking home by myself when my mother could not pick me up because her work time changed.
Mm.
So
For
yeah.
me, I understand what you're saying. 100% do. But I'm also gotta think about at the sense that when we were kids, and when I have children, that's a different time because it's also a different time now, and
Hmm.
safety is ooh, safety these days are a little bit different. People are snatching people left, right, and center. So
Especially during times like the Super Bowl, the holidays.
anytime it's just like a lot of people on the road, the psychos think it's time to like, ooh, it's time to play trick or treat. It's just really that their time. But I think, hmm, I agree. If they're going to be walking home by themselves, I say a basic phone, or if it's not a basic phone, a phone with a parental locks. And then I say when they get to high school, we can take them down a little bit, take them down a notch. Obviously, explain to them as they grow older, how phones work, social media, because when we were growing up, social media was still a new thing, so there wasn't a
We
really
were the
a
guinea
footprint.
pigs.
Yeah, there wasn't really a footprint on social media. Now there is. There are 5 year olds and all these little children on social media.
2-year-olds who have tablets.
Yeah, they're all on social media being exposed to so much things that I honestly don't think they should be exposed to at such a young age because their minds can't fully understand what they're seeing, and that's troublesome to a child, right? So
The
I
only thing they should
feel
be worried about is wondering how to spell cat.
exactly. And so I feel like if it's not for a safety reason, if you're going to be picking up your child every day from school, you're in the car loop every day on time, early, whatever it is. I don't feel like your child needs a fully automated phone. They can have a regular, track phone. They can have a regular track phone just to call you and call 911. That's it. Call you, call your husband, call their brothers and sisters if they have any. Call 911. They don't need a high speed 256 gigabyte phone on your plan. They don't.
You know what? I
They
want to
don't.
throw in a conspiracy theory.
What's up?
Not a controversial thing.
Tell me
Not
about it.
really controversial, but just a thing that I
Mhm.
heard out in the spell. When I was years ago, uh in like the second year of college,
Mhm.
um technically it was only like 2 years ago. But anyway, what
2020 did not exist.
anyway, yeah, it was 2020. 2020. Um, in sociology, there's some people that won't date um people who don't have iPhones. So if you don't have an iPhone, they're not going to date you. There's some people that dictate it like that because it's like not they're not with the trend, or they're not like, or it either means like they're not with the trend, or they're not wealthy enough to afford an iPhone or something like that. and so they're not gonna date you. Like something super. That's so superficial.
Yeah,
Like that's
that
so
is not okay.
weird.
It's there
I
are
was shocked when
honestly
I heard it.
in this world when I hear certain things, just like the last one that you were talking about, the whatever it is, the V thing. Um, it's hard for me to like be shocked about it because the world is filled with so much people that think so differently, and that's okay. That is okay that you think differently, but it's like I don't think it's correct to think that way. And that's my personal opinion. And so what you just said, what is wrong with you? If iPhone didn't exist, what would be your scale? It's just an elitist mindset, and if you're thinking like that, you're not a proper elitist. Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to let you know. That you can't really see the floor, but you're beneath the floor if you think like that.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm just telling the truth. Stupid.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
Moving on.
Next question. This is something that we had spoke about recently, but I just want to bring it up again.
I think I forgot.
Should Pluto
I
be a
remember.
planet?
Should
Should
Pluto?
Pluto
Yes,
be
it should be.
reinstated as a planet?
Yes, Pluto should be reinstated as a planet. Yes, it should be.
Don't know who in NASA was working back then and said, we're going to just recategorize everything. You guys are mean. You guys are very mean, super mean. And we should talk about this because my baby Pluto does not deserve no dwarf planet status. I am enraged. That's all I have to say about that. Do you have anything else to say?
Free my dog Pluto.
Period. Okay. This is just a wild one. I just really liked it.
Okay, great. I like wild things.
If you found out that humans are merely part of an experiment being controlled by aliens like puppets, would you quit?
Would I quit what?
Life. You would just say, "Hey, hold on,
If I ever figured
we're
out
done."
that humans were just controlled
Like a video game. Like if you realize that
in a
life was a video game,
simulation,
yeah, like a simulation.
well, obviously that means I have gained a consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think I could ever like go through with suicide or like I don't think I could ever just quit life because that's just like I never really think that way.
Would it be a giver moment where you just stop taking the pills? Stop taking the pills.
But absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not once my consciousness is like one, I'd be like, well, I can't really do anything about it. But then two, I'd be like, I guess I know now,
Yeah.
and I'll just have questions the entire time, and hopefully they'll be answered when my game is over.
Yeah.
I guess that's another conspiracy theory that I wanted to ask. Anyway.
Okay.
Honestly, the fact that our life could be a simulation. We glitch all the time. One, the Mandela effect is real. And and I just like it's such a boring game. It's not even like sim level fun. It's just we get nothing. We get no powers. We
Mm-hmm.
get no we don't even have money to be able to afford to live. So like
With the price of living these days, child.
I feel like if we are in a game, it must be Plague Incorporated. And like we're the part of the world that you just can't see, and people are just trying their best to figure out the fastest way to wipe us out. It's just trial and error as to see what can wipe us out the quickest. That must be the game because it just doesn't make sense if it's any other thing.
Next question. This is a controversial question. It's not even a controversial question. It's just a thing in the Black Southern community, Caribbean. It's just a thing that happens. So we want to, as older folks now, considered older folks.
Are we?
We're considered older folks to
All
some
right.
people.
All
I
right.
don't know which people, but some
I
people.
mean, yeah.
I guess the way we think. Let's just say about
Oh,
that. Ooh.
no.
Okay, at what age do you think a child can stay home alone? We all knew we had experiences, but what do you think? is the right age?
I mean, at the age that you can whip yourself something to eat and you know not to open the door to strangers is the age you can stay home alone and you know 911. So I guess like around like 11, 10, maybe 12 years old.
Hmm.
What age do you think that you could be home alone?
No, that sounds right. It's just like, growing up for a lot of people, that wasn't the age as a lot of people got when they were home alone.
Yeah.
Mom and daddy had work.
Yup.
And if you didn't have a daddy or a mommy, they were still at work.
Yup.
And so, you just knew, don't let nobody in if it's not me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't answer the door if it's not me, not even the mailman. If your grandma come by, don't answer the door
Mm-hmm.
if it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been 8, could have been 7, whatever age. Mama got to go to work, but that's a good age. That's a good
That's
age.
good
Okay, this one's just been in the air for years. Are video games harmful to children?
age. Well,
Well, let me just be war video games, fighting,
violent
violence.
video games. Well, me,
Mhm.
I love myself some Mortal Kombat when I was 6 years old. So, and I grew up okay. I didn't grow up super violent. So, I'd say it depends. It depends on. Okay, there are some children that can play video games and they know it's a video game and they'll be out. And
Mhm.
there are some people that there are some kids at an age that when they watch Superman, they think that they can fly and they go ahead and jump off the couch and break their arm. At that age, they should not be, if they still think that way, they should not be playing violent video games. Also, depend on the people around you. Um, when you're playing these violent video games, what are you, or do they have the headphones that like
Mhm.
where grown men are cursing and saying all these violent things in their ear? Or like do they have a brother that's egging them on when it comes to like more violent things? So it really depends
Or
on your
sister.
environment or sister. It really depends on the environment that they're growing up in, whether the video game will influence them or not, I think.
Hmm.
Because I do still think that there's some influence that video games have, but it also depends on like what kind of things that it's influencing them in. So like for me when I play a violent game or something like that, um I or like there's violence in a game, I'm rarely thinking about the violence itself and more
Mhm.
I'm just like, "Oh, those moves are cool." Or or wow, that shot was so precise. That's so crazy. I hardly ever think of like the violence involved cuz I know it's just a game. Like
Mm.
I'm not thinking, oh, I'm trying to kill all these people and oh my god, I can't wait to ravage all these people. No, when I was playing Ink Incorporated, yes, did I have some evil mad scientist thoughts?
And a little bit of Uno, a little bit of Uno.
And Uno, do I get a little violent? Sure. When I'm playing Ink Incorporated, I'm trying that's the whole mode of the game. You're trying to concoct something worse than the coronavirus to kill these people. And yes, I have to put my mind in that capsule.
Mhm.
But it really depends on the environment they're living in, whether they take the game seriously or not. Because for some kids, like if they're seeing that violence outside of life while also seeing the violence in the game, that realism is going to start to blur.
Mhm.
But if they're living in a peaceful life and stuff like that, and that video game is not the thing that's going to influence them to be violent.
Okay.
It's not the video game. There's something else occurring in that child's head or something happening to them um in an interaction that's teaching them um that violence outside of life. Yeah.
Funny side question. Do you think these grown men that are playing these games are ready for the front line? Because I'm telling you, some of them do. Some of them do. So do you think they are ready for the front line like they think they're ready for the front line?
Yo, you don't understand. COD taught me so much hand-eye coordination.
Because
No,
they will
no,
swear up on their mothers
no.
that they are ready for the put me in, coach. Put me in. Put me in, coach. And I'm just like, it's
Sir,
not the
go
same. Your joystick is not the
go
same.
to sleep.
It's not the same
Go to sleep.
as holding a rifle.
Go to
It's
sleep.
not the same.
Go to sleep.
It's not the same.
Go to
It
sleep.
can probably help with reflexes, like with your eye motion, but that's even then, you're not. You're
Like
not.
you can go outside and play a sport, and that'll help with all of that. Like
Sorry. No, no, baby, no, 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 no. Next question. This is. We're just turning a little bit.
I love how your source is Pinterest.
Was Ross and Rachel on a break?
I haven't seen Friends in so long.
Did he cheat since they were on a break?
Okay, so the thing is, first off, they never sat down and communicated what they believed a break really truly was. There's some people who think break and they're like, "Oh, we're breaking up." But you know how people have a talking stage? Okay, so the
Don't let me
before
get
the
started. That's the
exclusiveness, some
stupidest
people think
thing.
a break means that they're broken up, but it means that after a period of time they're going to come together and see if they still work or not after having that like time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people think a break means, oh, we're just gonna like we're still together, but it's like a separation and a divorce. They think it's like being separated, where it's like they're not divorced yet, but they're like, thinking by themselves for this period of time before they come together and seriously think on if they should be broken up
Mm-hmm.
or if they should continue on with their relationship. It obviously they were not on the same page of what that break meant. So, um, when I was younger, I used to think a break meant you're broken up. You're just broken up because it makes no sense. What's the point of having a break?
What's the point?
What's the point of having a break if that's the case? But at the same time, I do understand Rachel's side because even if you're taking a break, the thing is that obviously if you cared about that person enough or if you were involved in the relationship enough, your first thing wouldn't have been to go ahead and date other people or uh, go see the other person if you really thought that, hey, we're gonna get back together after this thing. If you were truly invested in the relationship enough to want to get back together with that person, then I understand why Rachel's like, hey yo, we can't be together. Like it just can't happen because obviously we're on two walks of life here
Yeah.
on what we think this relationship is going to be like. But like I see both sides because at the end of the day, if Ross thought that they weren't that if and the thing is Ross is a very insecure dude.
Mm.
Ross Ross has insecurities up the wazoo. He really should have took that time to be by himself and learn how to be by himself and to like develop his own self care and self love. Man didn't do that.
He got Rachel and didn't know how to act. He was like, I done bagged the girl I wanted since I was a youth.
He was
I can do
they're basically
everything.
they basically the grown up version of Freddie and Carly. But 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 um when it comes to oh my god, that knocked me out. I can't even remember what I was gonna say. But the thing is, because of his insecurity, I don't think that Ross even thought he had a chance to be with Rachel again. I think he thought it was ended. to the point where it's like I don't think he thought they were gonna have a talk to even be able to get back together. I don't think he thought he had the chance anymore because of his own insecurities as and things like that. He didn't even I don't even think he thought there was a chance for them to be back together.
Girl.
So it's like one of those things where it's like he obviously believed they were broken up. She she obviously believed that they were still together, and that's more of a miscommunication. The biggest distance between two people is a miscommunication. That's it. All I can say. It was a
Mm.
miscommunication on their part.
Mm-mm-mm.
I say this as someone who's never been in a relationship. I swear, the people who've never been in a relationship have one of the like give the best advice because they're just here looking and observing other people's relationship.
Are there more than two genders? I'm gonna use that one.
Yes, even biologically, there are more than two genders.
Okay.
They just in science they just pin it on two because that's the most common normal one, but there are more than two genders.
There are hermaphrodites, guys. They
And
actually exist
there are
in
people with
animals.
more than one
Who
Y
has?
chromosome and one more than one X chromosome.
Yeah. If you went to science class, you would have known
And even then,
biology.
uh, sexual orientation and gender, two different things
They
on the
are.
social spectrum. Um, so yeah, especially spiritually, you believe that you are this way and that way. I, you know, I identify as her and she and all that other stuff, but
If you want to be a tree, baby, be a tree.
not a tree. Okay, hold up. Before,
No, if you want to be a
no,
tree.
I love the jokes though. I do love the jokes where they're like, I'm a helicopter. I love those jokes. But the thing is, I do believe also spiritually that when you die, or at least for me, um, what's it called? I don't think that gender exists when you die anyway. So like technically, spiritually, I don't believe my soul has a gender to begin with. I would be a they them if I cared enough, but
For
honestly,
me,
it's easier to just be she.
your gender is whatever you want to be on earth, whatever it is. What's on the inside of your body? Like they say, we all bleed red. When your body decays, 100 of years from now, if you're dug up, you're still going to have this type of your everyone they have a certain bone structure based on what your sex is, not your gender, what your sex is. You have a certain width to your hips, you have a certain thickness to your bones, you have a certain jawline structure based on what your sex is. So be whatever you want to be on this earth. Be happy. You're only here once. But don't get it twisted in your afterlife, babe, because you're only gonna be one of two. I don't know how a hermaphrodite's body structure is on the inside because I've never seen it before. But of the two main common ones, male and female, they're only gonna be able to identify you as so. So don't feel some type of a body dysmorphication on that part. Be whoever you want to be while you're here. Live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Live your life. That's all I have to say.
As long as you're happy and you're not hurting anyone, is what I say.
Those are the only two things you gotta do in life. Be happy, don't hurt nobody or yourself while doing it.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's not that hard to live, guys. It's
Hey,
not.
it ain't.
Do you think peer pressure is a good thing? Girl, that's what it says, and I had to say it in the most serious manner. But I
Peer
understand what they're
pressure?
saying. I understand
Is
why they
peer pressure a good thing?
I understand what they're saying, but I don't get it.
No. Peer pressure is not a good thing. You should never feel pressure to do anything you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. The
Ever.
definition of peer pressure is what she just said. So I think I know what they're trying to say, but I don't know what they're trying to say. So we're gonna move on from
I
it.
don't know what they're trying to say at all.
I think I know.
I feel
You
like
shouldn't feel pressure to do some things, but I feel like they're trying to get at some things you wouldn't have done had you not have that push. But I guess
But
if
the
you feel pressured, is the difference from feeling
I mean,
pushed.
the thing is, yeah, there's a
So
difference
that's what the
in
difference that they're not
yeah,
justifying in
there's
the
a difference
statement.
in like wanting to do something but you're too scared to do it
Yeah,
and your friends like support you and push you towards the thing. But or something you genuinely do not
not
want
want
to
to
do,
do,
but
and
you
you're being,
feel like
yeah,
you have to do it because everyone around you is either telling you or they're doing it and so you feel like to be normal or to fit in, you go along and do it.
yeah, that's
But
two
that's
different things. And I think that they're trying to go along the line of, you want to do something and someone's pushing you. It's not the same. A push and a pressure is not the same thing. The final question is, do you think that the legal drinking age in the US should be lowered or raised, whichever route? Do you think it should change from 21?
well, the thing is, I understand why it's 21.
Mm-hmm.
Like on a brain
Scientifically.
on scientifically understand why it's 21, but and also governmentally I understand why it's 21. You know, you draft 18-year-olds if they're drinking and stuff like that, then it's kind of bad for, whatever. But and also because you don't want kids out there drinking, driving, all that stuff. As technology grows, it's bad to have drinking and technology mixed together while you're kids especially.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, so many, I mean, I don't want to compare countries because each has its pros and cons and all that stuff like that. But having that, it's not stopping anyone, it's not doing anything. And if we can, you know join to go to war at 18, we could vote at 18. If you lower the voting age to 18 because the draft happened, you can lower the drinking age to 18
That
as
was going to be
well.
my first point.
It's because because it doesn't make any sense. Um Also, like, no matter what, kids are gonna do it, especially because it's banned. No one that the fact that it's banned makes it some rebellious thing that
Second point.
that what's it called? Everyone's doing, and that peer pressure also it adds into it because it's like, oh, you can't, like, what's it called? A lot of the times I'm a believer in you can have fun without drinking. Have I do I drink? Of course. Yes, I have. I didn't start drinking until I was 21, but I do drink. But the thing is, but that's only like some of the times. I can have fun without drinking as well. I'm a believer and you can do that. And but when you say something like that, people think that peer pressure doesn't exist. But when you say, "Oh, you can have fun without drinking," all of a sudden so many people will come on and be like, "Oh, you're a prude," or "Oh my god, look at this guy, like so quirky," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or "You must be real fun at parties." And I'm just like, if you're at a party, if you're at a social event, why is it that you have to have fun with drinking to begin with? Like, that's another side note that I just that I'm just like, okay, then that means you're only fun when you're drunk. Like, are you boring without it? So that's more of a you problem, isn't it? It's but either way, if you restrict something, kids are gonna see it as this cool thing to go after. But if there's no restriction, if there's no ban, no one cares. No one thinks that drinking is such like a big thing. Now, is drinking always going to be a problem? Just like there are other problems in the world? Yes. People will take it and they'll exploit it. People will abuse drinking. People will go too far with it all the time. And even as adults, a lot of adults will go ahead and be alcoholics. And honestly, having that drinking ban does nothing to help. It really doesn't. Like, there's there's a ban on drugs, and there's a whole opioid epidemic that's been happening for over 10 years, especially around the Midwest to the northern states of America.
Mm-hmm.
It's so big, especially because it's like they're using prescription drugs and all this
Yeah.
other stuff as well to concoct this. It's it's one of those things where it's like, now do I believe that that there's certain drugs that shouldn't be on the market, that shouldn't be there? Yeah. But then there's also there's mental disorders where people are prescribed lithium and basically heroin for their mental disorder,
Yeah.
and they're prescribed an amount of what's it called, opioids for painkillers when they don't need that, and they'll get addicted. So it's the world's weird, man.
Mm-hmm.
The world is so weird. But the ban on drinking is like the least
The
of
least
America's
of your
problem.
problem.
The least of America's problems. Truly. I honestly, without the ban, people won't think about it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see how wild it got back in Prohibition? No one really cared until you banned it. Like, no one really cared about it. They're like, we're going to put a ban on it. People don't like to hear they're being restricted. You see how wild it
Americans
was?
especially.
Yeah. Americans, okay, listen here. You see how bad it was in COVID when everybody decided, no, I have to leave the house. Half of those people never left their house in the first place. Half of the people were introverts. They were like, I feel like going outside today. Baby, you didn't leave before today. Why do you want to leave now? Just because I can. I just want to. If you put a label on it, they're like, you know what?
And did you see how wild people got once it was slightly lifted? Once it
It
was
was a
slightly
zoo.
lifted,
It was a
people
zoo.
were destroying and wreaking havoc everywhere. It's like because they didn't know how to act. It
Yeah,
was crazy.
that's all it is. That is really all it is. I feel like she hit literally all the points that I was gonna say, so I don't really have much to say. But if you heard her, you heard me. What she said, my point was gonna be, if you trust me to vote for a country, I feel like a drink won't be bad. Like on like a regular, regular mind, not the scientific side. We all know scientifically why people. I hope we do.
I hope we
Scientifically,
do.
why children are allowed to drink. I just hope we do. Maybe there. Just in case you don't know, quick fact:
Oh, like
your frontal lobe
the
is
main thing,
not.
the drug education is just as bad as sex education.
Yeah,
It what they'll basically tell you is that it's a gateway that'll lead to other things
yeah.
that messes up your body.
The thing is, your frontal lobe, your brain is not fully developed until your early 20s, your mid 20s really, and so that's why alcohol and drugs is not good for you
They'll mess up your
at
chemical.
children because you're not finished forming your brain. Just as like babies, your skull isn't fully formed when you're born. Your brain isn't fully formed. Your synaptic pruning isn't finished.
Babies are weird.
Like your synaptic pruning mean like the wrinkles on your brain. They're not finished being weird and wrinkly until your mid 20s or so. So that's why alcohol can affect it. That's legally, scientifically, I mean, why, alcohol and drugs shouldn't be
We
introduced to the
don't actually
body.
get rational thinking until around 25 either.
Yeah. So that's why, like, my teacher said this in class the other day. He was like, that's why when teenagers make stupid choices, it's not that
Yeah, they have no impulse
they
control.
don't know. They honestly don't know that they're making a bad decision. They're just
Cause,
doing it
cause
because
the
it's
thing,
like
yeah, they see. It's more like when you see something,
you do.
monkeys. When you see something, they just do it because the rational part of their brain's not thinking, oh, this is how it's gonna work at the end of the day, or this are the consequences of my actions. They
Yeah.
just see something that they want to do, and a lot of times they'll go undo it. Now, some kids, some kids know better. You
Yeah.
know, some kids do know better. Um, but Because there are some things where it's like it's just so drastic, you know that's not the correct thing to do. If you are hiding the thing that you are doing, that means you know that it's bad.
Yeah.
That means
Subconsciously, you know.
that means you know that's bad. And even consciously,
Yeah.
you know it's bad. Because if you have to hide it, that means that you recognize the action you're doing. But for the ones where it's like they're driving fast because they're impulsive, because they're just like, ooh, I want to see how fast this car is going. They're not thinking
They're
ahead.
not thinking like, hey, you can't stop fast enough if somebody decides to cut in front of you. You're not thinking, what if something happens to the vehicle and I cannot make a decision quick enough since I'm going at 120? All those, extra afterthoughts, they didn't come up in their heads yet. Honestly, for adults, it doesn't either. I don't know what's going on with y'all, but there are rational thoughts that's supposed to come up in your mind. I know you're late for work, baby, but if you get there dead, you can't get there at all.
There's some people that just don't grow up at all. It's not even about the
Yeah,
brain thing. That's just a
yeah.
personal problem.
But yeah, so if you trust me to vote, I feel like trust me to drink. You suppose you can. I really don't feel like I trust some people to vote though, but that's a different issue. Just a different issue. Because some people, as you said, people just don't grow up, and they're not at the thought process yet to be able to handle such big decisions. The second one that you said was oh yeah, you said three. You said about 4 points, and I forgot.
Girlie, I don't remember them either. I don't remember
Okay,
them
we
either.
should drinking, should drinking, should drinking, should drinking, should drinking. I'm gonna have to
Well,
get this
while
right.
she's thinking of that, and when I'm
Drinking.
and what's it called? This does not excuse the behavior of teens and kids and all that stuff at all. Like I said, because you grow up learning a set of things. Like you learn when you're growing up, hey, keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
You learn, hey, don't steal. It's wrong. You learn lying is bad. And there are people that will do those things anyway. And but then you have some people who are, like sex education, like I said, is very, very rough. So they don't know all the consequences. They know that they can potentially make a baby, but they think
That's
that
it.
because they have a condom or something, or maybe or sometimes they don't think it applies to them, and in their heads they're not even thinking of that. They don't think about the child, the end product, when they're teenagers and they're doing what they're doing. No, they just think, oh, hormones, flooding, we're gonna do this. And then they don't think, oh, a child is going to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But this does not excuse all the actions of whatever, because they are smart. They know. They know a lot. Now, rationalizing and uh knowing when you're in the wrong, two different things. Two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I had to say. Yep, yep.
All right, guys. So
Thank you for coming.
thank you for coming. Whenever you're watching this, good morning, good evening, good night. Have a good one. Bye.